Boy, it's pretty dark out here in the woods of Gloucester, Jeff.
Yeah, it is dark. So in the military, when soldiers need to perform guard or watch duty, especially at night, it's critical to relieve them every few hours.
Well, that makes sense. There's a lot of pressure and concentration on duties like the night watch.
Yeah, for sure. So soldiers take it seriously because they know if they're the ones sleeping, they want their fellow soldiers to take these duties just as seriously.
There's an expression, not on my watch, and they mean it, too.
Yeah, that's right. My dad served in the military in Vietnam. You and I both have friends that have served in Iraq and Afghanistan,
Yep.
and I've heard stories from all of them about how sometimes when you're on a watch at night, if you stare long enough, the trees start to move.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you're concentrating. There's low light. You may start to see things that aren't really there.
Which is what brings us to the woods of Gloucester.
Ah.
There was a time long ago, during a time of conflict and tension, that many locals were seeing soldiers who may or may not have actually been there. We're in Gloucester, Massachusetts, hunting for the Spectre Leaguers. Hello, I'm Jeff Belanger, and welcome to episode 255 of the New England Legends podcast.
And I'm Ray Auger. Thanks for joining us on our mission to chronicle every legend in New England one story at a time. We're a community of legend seekers who love exploring ghosts, monsters, UFOs, eccentrics, roadside oddities, and weird history from our region. And most of our story leads come from you, like this one. Thanks to Scott Andrick and his daughter Rayleigh for sending this one in.
Like any good community, we're at our best when we grow and include others, so please post a review for us on Apple Podcasts, share your favorite episode on your social media, or tell a friend or two about us. It goes a long way in helping us grow.
Now, before we go looking for some ghostly soldiers in Gloucester, Massachusetts, we want to take just a moment to tell you about our Patreon patrons.
Our Patreon patrons are a group of insiders who help support everything we do. Our hosting and production costs, our marketing costs, website, and everything else really starts to add up.
Yeah, you'd be shocked at how many hours go into each episode. If you can help, we'd love to have you more involved. Plus, our Patreon patrons get early access to new episodes, bonus episodes, and content that no one else gets to hear. For just $3 a month, it helps us a lot. Just head over to patreon.com/New England Legends to sign up.
Okay, so we're in Gloucester on Boston's North Shore, and so much maritime history is here, and so much New England history. There was a time, centuries ago, when this was still a frontier, when we were still England, not New England, when there was talk of witches and ghosts and devils and demons, and people believed it. They had the proof of their own eyes.
Those were dangerous times for everyone.
So let's head back to 1692 and look for these ghostly soldiers.
It's July of 1692 here in Gloucester in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, and everyone is on edge. The witch trials in nearby Salem began back in February and only seem to be gaining in intensity.
Plus, King William's War is now in its 4th year. New France to the north is trying to push south to capture more land for their new colony, and of course, Britain is pushing back up to the north. New France and their Wabanaki Confederacy allies are taking on the British. The fighting is sending many war refugees south, closer to Boston and into the North Shore region. Caring for these refugees is stressing out the local farmers and communities who want to help, but they also need to take care of themselves.
Preachers from the pulpit tell their congregations that these native heathens are in league with the devil. Between the witch trials and the battles just to the north, many people are worried that the devil and his minions are on the loose and lurking behind every tree. Like I said, they're on edge.
Here in Gloucester, there have been some strange reports of seeing Indians and French soldiers lurking in the trees, even breaking into houses. But when they're chased off, they disappear. There have been so many sightings that on the 16th of July, Major Samuel Appleton of Ipswich orders 60 men to assist the residents of Gloucester in their efforts to defend themselves.
But defend themselves from what? I mean, sure, people are seeing things, but no one has ever been shot or captured to prove it's a real person.
Well, then there's what happened a few weeks ago to Ebenezer Babson of Cape Ann.
That's right.
Yeah, so Babson is well known and well respected around these parts. For almost 2 weeks, Babson and his family were hearing strange noises, like people walking around or even running through the house. He'd get up to investigate, but find no one.
But then last night he got home late and saw 2 men leaving his house just as he was arriving home. When they spotted Babson, they dashed off to the side of the house and into the cornfield. So Babson runs into the house to ask his family who those men were, but no one saw anything. They said no one had been inside since he left, so Babson grabbed his gun and ran outside after the intruders. He got close to the two men, but then they slipped into the swamp area and he lost them.
Now on high alert, the Babson family raced to the nearest garrison to alert the militia. They announced that perhaps the French and their allies are close. These men may have been scouts. Now, just as the Babsons entered the garrison, everyone heard the feet outside. The militia raced outside to see two men dash off into the swamp.
Now, there's no question that these men must be scouts. An attack could come any day.
And Babson is not the only person spotting these scouts either. Others in and around Gloucester are also hearing running feet in their homes and spotting people darting around the trees. How they're breaking in or getting out of the occupied homes is a mystery.
It's July 14th. It's night, and everyone is scanning the roads, the woods, everywhere. Babson is out with the garrison hunting for the scouts, when suddenly they spot 6 men skulking through the trees, all of them within gunshot range. Babson leads the charge towards the men. He raises his gun, and it misfires.
The 6 strangers are aware there's a garrison closing in. Babson has already called out to the others that he's spotted them. So Babson chases them into the swamp. He's got 3 of them just ahead. Again, he raises his gun, and all 3 men drop to the ground. Babson yells to the others that he's just fired an incredible shot and killed 3 of them. But as Babson approaches the bodies, the 3 men leap to their feet and race off. Just as they sprint ahead, one of the men raises his pistol back at Babson and fires a shot that zips past Babson's head and lodges in a nearby tree.
The 6 scouts are gone. There's no sign anyone was wounded or hurt in any way. Babson can't figure out how his shot missed. Still, he digs that bullet out of the tree. It's almost like he needs it for proof that these soldiers are real. The garrison regroups and reloads. The 6 scouts couldn't have gone that far.
The garrison tracks the direction of the scouting party and soon discovers where they've regrouped. The garrison surrounds the position of one of the scouts.
Just as the unknown man stands up, Babson takes careful aim and watch the man drop to the ground dead. There's no question his bullet hit its mark this time.
Now concerned with the 5 other scouts in the party, the garrison searches, but they come up empty. Now when they go back to retrieve the body of the man Babson shot, there's nothing there.
Now everyone is confused. Babson's certain his bullet struck the scout dead, but there's no sign of the body.
When the garrison returns to their base, they once again see some men lurking out near the tree line, but beyond the range of the guns.
It's July 16th. There's now regular patrol throughout Gloucester. 2 men from the garrison are walking along when they get close to some of these strange scouts in a nearby orchard. So close that they can hear them talking. The only problem is, these men are speaking a language they can't recognize. It's not French. It's not any native language they've ever heard of before.
Now, still seeing an opportunity, the men raise their rifles and fire at the scouts.
The scouts scatter and soon are gone. It seems unlikely either bullet found its mark.
Now combine the strange language, the fact that either bullets don't affect these strange visitors, or they're protected by some unnatural force, and now everyone is thinking there's true evil afoot here.
Night after night, there's more sightings of these strange visitors around Gloucester. Sometimes they're spotted far in the distance, other times close up. Sometimes some armed local takes a shot at them, but no one seems to hit them. The sound of gunfire makes the scouts scatter, but that's it.
Folks in Gloucester are sure it's not just French scouts, but agents of the devil. Demonic forces sent here for the most diabolical of purposes.
Of course they'd reach that conclusion. If there was an attack coming, wouldn't it have started by now? It does an enemy no good to keep spooking the locals and keeping them on high alert all of the time.
Days go by, and more of these specters are showing up around town. But now they're tormenting people. The specters are throwing rocks at homes and hitting the roof. They're thumping logs against barns. The only purpose of this seems to be to torment the people of Gloucester and keep them scared.
By now, everyone knows about these specters, and everyone is on the lookout. Family rifles are kept at the ready. People are keeping watch in their homes. When someone gets a clear look at one of these strange invaders, they take a shot and send the specters scattering, but no one seems to be able to hit one of them.
For 2 weeks, this continues. One day, Ebenezer Babson is walking along the road near his house when he spots 3 of these specters casually walking toward him in the distance, as if they were out for some Sunday stroll. Babson quickly hides in some bushes by the side of the road and draws his pistol. The 3 specters continue their stroll, seemingly unaware that Babson is lying in wait. Just as the 3 specters get close to Babson's position, Babson takes aim. And again, his gun misfires.
And look at that. The 3 men walking by are looking directly at Babson in the bushes with a scoff. They don't seem scared at all. They just keep walking.
Babson and the others are convinced that these Spectre Leaguers, as they've come to be called, are bewitched people in league with the devil, or perhaps they're demons in human form.
It's late July when these strange Gloucester events reach a climax. It's night at the blockhouse building where the garrison is keeping watch. There's 20 musketeers inside when someone spots something moving in the trees. Within moments, a group of these Spectre soldiers emerge in front of the blockhouse. The commander doesn't hesitate.
Fire!
Shot after shot leaves the blockhouse, but has no effect. That's when the commander pulls a silver bullet from his pocket. He loads the shot. And suddenly, the entire group of Spectre Leaguers vanish in the musket smoke.
The garrison lays down their arms, and each man kneels to pray together. From that night forward, the Spectre Leaguers are not seen in Gloucester again.
A year goes by as the legend of these events grows to the point where Cotton Mather himself asks for a report of what happened. So Reverend John Emerson writes a letter to Mather, offering his account of these appearances. Emerson writes,
I hope the substance of what is written will be enough to satisfy all rational persons that Gloucester was not alarmed last summer for about a fortnight together by real French and Indians, but that the devil and his agents were the cause of all the molestation which at this time befell the town. In the name of whose inhabitants I would take upon me to entreat your earnest prayers to the Father of mercies, that those apparitions may not prove the sad omens of some future and more horrible molestations to them.
and that brings us back to today.
This account first makes it into print in 1702 in Cotton Mather's Magnalia Christi Americana. Mather used this story as further evidence that the devil is truly in these lands, but so too is the hand of God.
Add to the fact that this took place in 1692 at the same time as the Salem Witch trials, and you've got a region completely spooked.
Plus the King William's War raging to the north. I mean, this was a really tense time.
You know, it's interesting to me the way these Spectre Leaguers were described. Sounds like seemingly normal soldiers or scouts.
Yeah, right.
The only thing unusual was the language they spoke.
And if they were part of some native group, you'd think the people of Gloucester would know what that looks like and identify them. But they didn't.
The only other thing that's unexplained is how bullets didn't seem to affect them.
Which means either the men of Gloucester are bad shots, unlucky, or
we're back to the demon and devil explanation.
Right, exactly. The legend of the Spectre Leaguers spread so quickly that they go from being prowlers to military scouts to demons in human form in just a matter of weeks.
Plus, we have to put this into the context of the times. News of the Salem Witch trials would have been spread all throughout this region. When people are scared all the time, it's easy to get spooked.
And if you stare long enough into the abyss gazes back.
Most of what we know about this story was taken from Cotton Mather's 1702 book, but then recapped in much more modern times in Samuel Drake's 1883 book titled A Book of New England Legends and Folklore.
And that brings us to After the Legend, where we take a deeper dive and sometimes we get sidetracked.
Such a weird story.
Yeah, no, I mean, so on the one hand, the skeptic in you has to say, these guys just really were not good shots. Right?
So this is them
right.
claiming, no, I am.
Yeah.
It must be a ghost.
It
must be a specter.
Got to be a demon. Because right? I don't miss, right? Right? We've been hunting. I never miss.
I didn't even think of that. That is great. This legend grew because of bad shots.
But then is everybody a bad shot? You could say Babson, maybe you're not as crack shot as you once were.
Yeah.
But, time's passed and you're seeing things, but then the soldiers are missing too. And so
Right.
are other neighbors. Like, is everybody a bad shot?
Maybe.
Or are these people just charmed in some way? Right? I
Yeah.
mean, and so, and you have to remember, Salem witch trials are happening 2 towns away.
Right.
People are being executed now, like it's the summer, like the executions are happening, more and more accusations, the devil's everywhere, the war's up north, everyone is freaked out. Right, and the preachers are saying these natives are heathens. Their words, not ours.
Yeah.
Of course, their ways are different, and so this gets to the heart of like the devil, right? So the people in that region are saying the devil is with our enemies, right? Because obviously, God's on our side, clearly,
Obviously,
and the devil's on their side, and you sort of forget that on the other side, they're saying God is with us,
right.
and the devil is with these Puritans up here in Gloucester and Salem and so on.
Yeah.
And so we have to fight to rid the world and make it pure. And I've been reading a book lately about like the history of the devil and stuff, really interesting stuff. And one of the points it makes is that all of us are someone else's devil. You,
that makes sense.
Everybody. And so just to prove that point, if you affiliate with a political party in the United States, you are millions of people's devil.
You are the devil, yeah.
If you don't affiliate with a political party, it's a smaller group, but still there are millions who think you're the devil for not affiliating with them.
Right.
Right? So like it doesn't matter, right? If you've ever voted,
Yeah.
right? You're a devil to so many people. Because you're clearly being influenced by some evil force. And that's sort of that's what war is, right? Like God has to be on our side and the devil's with our enemy because it's such a chaotic time. And you're on edge and everybody's scared and you want to just be safe. And when you're scared, you turn into, the most base form of the human condition. You pray for divine intervention. You pray for protection. You're scared, and you don't always make the best decisions when you're scared. Actually, none of us do. But yeah, so I was talking to my dad about, when he was in Vietnam, once in a while he'd have to be on the night watch, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you stare at those trees, they'll start to walk." They just do.
Yeah.
Because you do take it seriously because your buddies are sleeping, and when you're sleeping, you want to know that hey, you're out there taking it seriously. You're wide awake. You're alert. Because
not on my watch.
Not on my watch
Yeah.
because I need to sleep and rest, knowing that this job's in good hands. And
Right.
he said they had these flares, that you'd hit them. It looks like a road flare, but it would launch a flare into the sky and it would come down on a parachute. And it was so bright, it would light up everything like daylight.
Yeah.
And so if you saw something, err on the side of launching the flare, and then get everybody alerted and taking a look. And he said, sometimes you'd see movement and they'd launch the flare horizontally, like right at it. Like, I'm going to just turn this thing into daylight. And if there's something walking there, whatever it is, animal, human, we're going to shoot it.
Right.
Because you're scared.
Yeah.
Because you're in a war zone. And, talking friends that served in Afghanistan and Iraq, I mean, maybe not a jungle in the trees, but sure, stare at the buildings. And is that shadow moving over there? And
you concentrate too hard, too. Your mind plays tricks on you. I mean, driving down a road, the road starts to twist and turn a bit, even though you're going straight. The lines on the road start to look a little wonky. Yeah,
I mean, that's what happens. And then you add in that fear factor, and then everybody's just completely on edge. And I get it. And those were times. And then I think it's so easy to, one of the stories that never gets discussed when everyone talks about the Salem witch trials is you just think like, oh, these simpleton Puritans were just, easily spooked and believed anything. But people don't talk enough about the King William's War that was stressing out the border. That like you had war refugees coming south.
Yep.
And the rich folks were like, let the farmers take care of them, be good Christians and feed them. I know you barely have enough food for yourself and your family, but, take care of them too. And so everybody's just on edge. Yep. How dare you, tell me, what to do? I only have enough to feed my family. And now we've got, I want to help. I'm a good person, but dude, I don't think they said dude. What
did I just find out today? It just reminded me.
Okay.
Hello wasn't introduced into our language until 1883, something like that.
Whoa.
What were they saying before that?
Sup.
That's what I said on the air today. That's so funny. I also said cello. Maybe it was cello, and then they shortened it.
What's up?
Sup, dude?
Bro.
We need a different word.
Yeah, that's really...
Isn't that weird?
That sounds lame.
And then another fun fact was no witches burned in Salem. That's true. That. Yeah, they were all hanged.
One was pressed. Although never confessed, Giles Corey never confessed he was pressed to death with stones. It's really, you have to sometimes zoom out when you're looking at history and not just look at one event like the Salem Witch Trial or the Spectre Leaguers. You have to put it into the bigger context of witch trials over here, war up there.
Right. Everyone's stressed.
Everyone is stressed and scared.
But the fact that everyone's seeing these things is weird. It's not just one person. Everyone's having this issue.
And we made this point too. So if they were just true military scouts and everybody missed and there was nothing weird about it, you just didn't identify their language. I'm not a military strategist, but it seems to me keeping a community on high alert all the time is not a good way if you plan to invade or attack.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
You'd want to get in and then disappear. Be like, all right, I scoped it out. There's a garrison over there.
Yeah.
There's some small armaments here and there. Let's lay low a couple days, let them go back to sleep, and then we attack, right? You don't just keep showing up until everyone's got loaded guns right by the door.
Everyone's ready to fire.
Yeah, everyone. So that's not a good military move if you're truly trying to scout.
Although you scare them so much, maybe they start shooting each other. They see each other walking down the street. It must be a scout.
Right.
And then they start killing each other.
Well,
I don't know.
It's a terror tactic, right?
Yeah.
Guerrilla warfare, which didn't really come along until later. I mean, that was more of a Revolutionary War, invented by the Americans. Well done, right? Well, borrowed from other cultures, but
Sure.
They're like, pick off the officers and hide in trees and then shoot them when they're just marching. Before that, war was civilized. They just lined up on either side and you just took shots at each other after breakfast until there was less of one than the other.
I love that. Just have at it, boys.
Yeah. Take aim, you know.
Just run. On the count of 3, everyone run at each other.
Yeah, and we'll just see
start stabbing and shooting.
See who's left. Civilized. Back then it was civilized, but good times.
Please be sure to subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts because it's free. And please help spread the word. You telling others is how our community continues to grow.
We'd like to thank our Patreon patrons. Thank you to Michael Legge for lending his voice acting talents this week. And our theme music is by John Judd.
Until next time, remember,
the bizarre is closer than you think.